So in Windows, we basically we have this. So let me go ahead and show you. So we have this. Okay, so this is the command we call the command line prompts, or the CMD. Okay. We also have in Windows, we have PowerShell. So let me open PowerShell, show you, which is pretty similar, right? This is the PowerShell. They are similar, like the PowerShell is more advanced, it's the newer shell. So you have this shell term. So the shell is basically what gives you access to the core operating system. Like, I'm not saying the kernel, because yesterday I said that the kernel is the core of the operating system. This is different meaning of core. This gives you access at a low level to the operating system. So we call the shell. So this shell in Windows, we call the command line prompt, or the CMD, or the command, or we have another version, which is the PowerShell, or the Windows PowerShell. In Linux, we call it the terminal. So this is basically the terminal, as you can see here. So this is CLI. CLI is distribution of Linux. So it's a distro of Linux that is made for penetration testing, ethical hacking, digital forensics, these sort of things. And this is a terminal. If you would like to open the terminal, simply just click here, or open applications and click on the terminal. Yeah, open the terminal in any way possible. So this is basically the terminal. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay, now the first thing that you would need to learn as soon as you get into the terminal is this. So you are going to see, but now it's done here like in a fancy way. But normally you're going to see it like this. You're going to see Ahmed at CLI, and then double dots like this, and then you're going to see a tilde, something like that, and then you're going to see a $sign. Okay. Actually, I can show that to you through this one. Hold on, stand by. Okay, you see this? So Ahmed at AE : tilde $sign. Okay, and everything here means something that you need to understand. Actually, this is Ubuntu. In case you're wondering, this is Ubuntu that is running on Windows as what we call a Windows subsystem for Linux. Did I discuss Windows subsystem for Linux with you before? I don't think so. Yes or no? I will repeat that. So since when you were not able to hear? What should I repeat? Yeah, I know, but what do you want me to repeat? Yes, the question was, did I explain to you Windows subsystem for Linux before, or no? No. Anybody else who would like to answer this question? Yes or no? I did explain virtualization, however, correct? Yes, very good. So Windows subsystem for Linux is something like, it's an improvement. It's like using a new technology in Windows that's called Windows subsystem for Linux, where you can actually work on Linux on top of Windows without the need to have a virtual machine. This is a technology in Microsoft. They are just developing it. Okay, and this is what I'm using in here, if you can see. So basically, this is just a window So this is as you can see here, this is my desktop, and forget about that for now. Okay, so this is my desktop, and I have a window here, and this window seems to be running Linux, and it is running Linux. So now, using the Windows subsystem for Linux, or this new technology from Microsoft, we can basically run a Linux kernel on top of Windows kernel. It's brilliant, and I'm using it a lot. But I'm not going to explain through this tool because it's new. You're not familiar with it. But I wanted you to see how the command line originally looks like without all the fancy stuff that we have in CLI. So basically, Ahmed at AE :tilde. This shape here, the blue one is called a tilde, and then a $sign. Each one of them means something, and it is important. So Ahmed means this is the username. At means that it's using the AE machine. So AE is basically the computer name. Okay, and then the colon means the location at this machine is tilde, and tilde stands for the home. Okay, home means the default folder for this particular user. It's very similar to when I open in Windows, when you open your home directory or your user directory, you find desktop, downloads, documents, all these. This is what we call your home folder. Okay. And then we will talk about this in just a minute. And then we have the $sign means that I'm now running at a normal user privilege. Even if I'm admin, and Ahmed is indeed an admin, or actually in Linux, we don't call it an admin, we call it root. So Ahmed is, it's a user account, but it has root privileges. It has admin privileges. However, this Ahmed now is running only with limited user privileges for security purposes. Is that okay? Easy to understand? So we have the same thing in CLI. If you take a look at CLI here, you're going to see that we have at CLI, then instead of the column, we have this tilde between the brackets, and then beneath that, there is the $sign. So the username is Ahmed, and the computer is called CLI, and I am at the home folder, and I'm using normal user privileges. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and try to navigate. How can I navigate within this particular computer using the common prompts? We navigate using the CD command. Okay. So if you want to go to the hard disk, like at the very top of the hard disk, we do CD, and then we do the /. And I told you about this yesterday. The / in the terminal represents the root directory, not the root user. We have different roots here. We have the root directory. The root directory means the whole hard disk, so I can see everything that I have in this particular hard disk. So I do CD. CD stands for change directory / and then hit enter, and then see what's going to happen. You see now what changed is that now the location that we're in is /, meaning we are now in root. Now, how can I see what's in the root? Do you know the command for that? How can I see? Yeah, very good, very good. So we do the ls command and then hit enter, and then it's going to give me everything that we have in this. Okay, I can go to a folder by doing cd, and then I can just type the name of the folder. Like I would like to go to Etsy. Etsy, this is the folder, one of the folders. Okay, so now I am inside Etsy. If I want to clear the terminal, just to give myself space, because as you can see, it keeps going down, I can do the clear command like this, or I can just do Control-L. I will do the clear command now, but later on I will do the Control-L. And then I'm going to do the ls again. As you can see, this time we have too many files and folders. As you can see here, The ones that are in white, these are files. The ones that are in blue, these are generally folders, okay? So we have too many of them, as you can see here. This is very basic stuff when we are working with the command. Again, I'm going to do one more Control L. I'm going to clear that. Now, there are two ways, and this is something that I would like to explain to you that's very important. There are two ways, I'm sorry, forget what I just said. How do we write commands in Linux? So when we write a command inside Linux, the command is divided into three parts. So the command name, or just a name, and then we have what we call options, and then we have what we call arguments. Okay, so here's the thing. The command name is mandatory. You see the red asterisk means that, of course, you need the command name. Like now we have tried, for example, the cd command, we have tried the ls command. So you have to put ls in Linux. And as I told you before, Linux is case sensitive. So if the command is ls, like small ls, you have to write it as small ls. If you do a capital ls or a capital L, small s, it's not going to accept it. Now, what about the option? The option is a way that you can change how the command works, okay? So ls is a command that generally lists, like ls actually stands for list. So it's going to give you everything that you can see inside the folder that you're currently in, like we did moments ago. However, this is actually a lie. ls is going to give you all the files and folders that are not hidden. If they are hidden, they are not going to be displayed by ls. Now, how can I display everything in ls, even the hidden files and folders? What is the option? Do you know? I wouldn't say filters, because the word filter is no, in Linux. I don't like to use the word filters because we have other filters. But they change the behavior of the command. Okay. Do you know what is the option that we use with ls in order to make ls? Yes, -a. So options, actually, we have generally. This is not 100% true. Like 99% of the time, this is going to be true. We have two types of options. One type of option that starts with a dash, okay, followed by a single character, like -a. Some other options, they are double dash followed by a word, like help, for example. Now, what is the difference? Okay, the difference is that when you use the dash, the single dash, you have to, after the dash, you have to put one single character only. In most of the cases, again, there are some exceptions to these. There are also exceptions to the dash itself. Some of the options, they are going to start with a plus instead of the dash, and this is happening because it's open source. Everyone, they are creating their own commands. They write their own code. Some of them, they like to follow the rules. Some of them, they just say, okay, like, go to hell with the rules. We're going to create our own rules. So there's no standard per se that everyone must respect. There is a standard, but like, people can do whatever they want after all. This is not like Windows. Like when Windows, this is a closed source. Everyone, they're programming in the same environment. Microsoft is controlling everything. But in Linux, no. But as I said, 99% of the time, the command that you're going to be using is going to have, if it has options, these options are going to start either with a dash or a double dash. Dash, one single dash, means that it should be preceded by a single letter only, like the -A. If you're going to do double dash, means that you are going to precede that with a word like help, for example. Okay. Now, why do we have this rule? This is something very, very, very important for you to understand. The dash and the double dash. Why do we have this rule? Actually, you have to understand this. So, like, let's say, for example, you have the ls command, okay, and you would like to use the -A. -A is one option, but it's not the only option, right? We have other options as well. How can we see these options? Actually, now this is why I hate it. So I have to stop sharing, share again my other screen. I should ask for more money. Okay, now how can I learn more about the ls command? So you do ls and then do -h. -h means help, or you can do --h, right? To take a look at the help. And then you're going to see the help right away here, you see? And we have too many options. Like, let me scroll all the way up. You see how many options do we have? Like many, many, many options. So let's take a look at the first one. So it says here ls, then the option. This is the usage. How do we use the ls? We can use it alone, and we have already done that. Like, just use the command. And I told you, the command name is the only required thing. You don't have to, options are not mandatory. Maybe they will be mandatory for some of the commands. Some of the commands, they require options in order to work, but generally the option is up to you. The argument is also up to you. So as you can see here, we will talk about the argument in just a minute. ls, then the option. And we have here, for example, -A, do not ignore entries starting with a dot. Okay, so what the hell is this? In Linux, if you want to hide a file or you want to hide a folder, you start its name with a dot, and now it will be hidden. We will see this in just a minute. So we have the -A, alternatively --O. You can see O is a word. So if you're going to add the single letter, you include the dash, single dash. If you're going to include the word, you do the double dash, okay? But we have others as well. So if you go, for example, down to, so -C capital, list entries by columns, okay? Maybe that would be useful. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to clear here, and then I'm going to so do ls -C. See what's going to happen. Actually, this is like nothing. It's the same. Yeah, it's going to give us the same exact output. I had a fear like the hidden files as well. I'm going to do the -A as well, right? So ls -A -s or -s -A, and this is going to give me everything, including the hidden ones as well. Let's see if we have any hidden here. Ones that are starting with a dot, they're going to come at the top. Nothing actually. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, actually there is one here. So here there is a file that is starting with a dot. So now I am actually saying -A -s, but actually professionals, they don't do it like this. They do ls -as. What the hell is this? It's basically combining these two together. I can do that. So I can do -as, and Excel, I'm sorry, not Excel, Linux is going to understand this as -A -s. And this is the reason we don't do, if we're going to add a word like help, we don't do a single hash. Because what's going to happen if we do a single hash with a word like help? Exactly. So if you do dash single dash help, it will assume that this is basically dash h dash l. I'm sorry, dash h dash e dash l dash p. Right. That's going to ruin everything. So this is why if you're going to include a word as an option with the command, you put double dash before the word. Is that clear? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, very good. So as you can see here, we can now go back to the whiteboard, I believe. No, not this one. This one. Yep. Okay, so now you understand the option thing. Either a dash and then a single character. If there are multiple characters, means that there are multiple options combined together after the single dash, or a double dash followed by a word. Okay, we can use the dash h or the dash dash help in order to get help, learn more about the command, understand what the options are doing, like I just did. ls-a means all, ls-s means give me the sizes as well, sort like that. Now, what are the arguments? Arguments are basically any inputs to the options or to the commands themselves. Sometimes the command is going to need an input, okay? Or there is an option for you to give it an input. Sometimes the input is going to be to the option itself, okay? So you have a command. This command may require or may not require an input. And also there is an option. Sometimes there are, most of the times actually, most of the time, the option may need an input as well. Input means it needs an additional piece of information in order to work. Again, this is also optional in most cases. Okay, like the options are optional, arguments are also optionals in most cases. If we are talking about ls, let me switch back. I'm going to cry right now because I cannot share the screen that has the touch screen. I cannot share that. I can share only the whiteboard. I don't know why is this Blackboard so stupid. I'm sorry that I'm wasting your time. Okay, so what I can do now in CLI is simple. So I can do ls, but instead of giving any options at all, I can say ls forward slash. ls forward slash means that I want you to give me the contents of the root, not the contents of the current directory. So if I do this, and forget about this dash s dash a, this is just the autocomplete thing. I just wrote ls, okay? If I do ls like this, like naked without anything, it's going to give me the contents of the etc folder, the folder that I'm currently in. But if I do ls then forward slash, means that I don't want the contents of the current folder. I want the contents of the root folder, something like that. Can I still apply the options? Absolutely, because as I said, in this particular case with the ls is mandatory. It can work all alone by itself without options, without arguments. But if you add options, no problem. If you add arguments, no problem. If you add options and arguments, also no problem. So I can do something like that. ls and then /, and then I can do -as, something like this, and it's going to work. Does it matter in this particular case which is going to come first? No, you can do it this way. You can do it ls -as and then /, and of course it can be just -a or -s or whatever you want. So it's going to basically work exactly the same in this particular case, which is the ls command. Is this clear right now? Okay. Now, when it comes to the path, it is very, very important to know how to write the file path in Linux. So let me go ahead and share my whiteboard. Okay. Okay. Okay, so for file path, we have two options with the file path. Okay, we have the first option is what we call the absolute path, and the other one is called the relative path. Okay, what's the difference between the absolute path and the relative path? Absolute path always starts with a /, which is the root, and then whatever the rest of the path. So the absolute path goes all the way from the root and goes down to the file or the folder that you would like to go into. Okay, so if you are writing an absolute path, you have to make it a complete, very complete path, and it will always start with a / because that's the root, that's the top of the hierarchy, right? The relative path, on the other hand, is not going to start with the, so if there's no /, so the / is not there, it will never start with a /, because if you put the /, Linux will think that is an absolute path. Okay, so it starts with a file name or a folder name, and then if there are some other stuff, you do the forward and then the / and then you continue. So it is not starting from the root. If it's not starting from the root, then where the hell is it starting from? It is starting from whatever that comes after the double dot. You remember when I told you in the prompt there is a double dot, and then in the double dot you can come see something like that. You can see something like EDC. Okay, you can see the tilde. We will talk tildes like this. We'll talk about the tilde later. So basically what happens with the relative path when you do not include the / is that we will join this one with this one. Okay, so if, for example, if you are standing here, so you are standing in Etsy, right? And then you put some command here, and then after this command, you started typing something. You started saying, for example, let me think of something. Anything like Ahmed. That's it. So Ahmed is if it is a file or a folder or something, what's going to happen is that Linux is going to basically take this. Let me use the red. So it's going to take this, put a / after it, and join it with this. So it is exactly like you typing /Etsy /Ahmed. Because this path after the column here, it will always start with a /, except in the case of the tilde or some other very few cases. But as I said, it is here. This is an absolute path. If you type something here, it will be considered as relative path that is going to be joined with the absolute path. Okay, let's go ahead and try some of these. So I'm going to clear the screen right now, and I'm going to move from this Etsy. I'm going to actually move home. And if you would like to move home, you can either type CD and then nothing, or you can simply type CD and then the tilde. It's basically the same thing. So take me to the home folder. So this is my home folder. If I do ls, as you can see, you're going to find desktop, downloads, pictures. I would like to get into the desktop. So I'm going to do CD desktop. I'm going to, as you can see here, I wrote the desktop really fast, not because I'm genius, because I used a tab. So the tab is going to do an autocomplete for you. And it's going to automatically put a / at the end. This / does not matter right now. It's just asking you if you'd like to go any further down or any further inside the desktop. You can just type right away, but I can leave it like this and hit enter. And as you can see now, I am in tilde / desktop. Actually, the tilde is a special character. As I said, it represents the home, and it has embedded into it, but we just don't see it. The /, and actually, let me show you this. So I'm going to do CD. I'm back at the tilde. I can now go and write the command pwd. Pwd stands for present working directory. And this is the working directory that I'm in. This is basically the equivalent of the tilde. And as I said, it's a special character that represent / home / Ahmed. This is exactly where I am. If I now do CD desktop, as you can see here, I will be in tilde / desktop. But this actually means / home / Ahmed. Okay? Now, forget about this. As I said, the tilde is a special case. Now, what about the absolute reference and the relative reference? Okay? Let's assume that inside the desktop, I would like to make a new folder. How do we make a new folder? I will do mkdir, and then I have two options now, because mkdir is not going to work like this. If I hit enter, it's going to say, what the hell are you doing? So in the case of the mkdir, there should be, like in this case, it's mandatory to put the argument, which is the name of the file. You make a dir, you have to give me what is the directory name. Now I have two options. I can do mkdir, and I can go, I'm sorry, hold on. I can do mkdir and then go all the way from the beginning. I can do this / home / Ahmed, and then desktop, right? And then give the name of the new folder. I'm going to call the new folder, for example, Azan. So AZZAN. And then hit enter. So that works. If you do ls, you're going to see that there is a folder now that is called Azan. But actually, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do all, if I am already in the desktop, as you can see, my current position is in the desktop. All I need to do is just use mkdir and then give the name of the folder directory directly, and maybe this time I will use who's Hamza. So do Hamza like that. Oh, what? Why is it not typing Hamza? Hamza. Like that. So what is going to happen? What is going to happen is basically going to take this, add a / at the end, and then join it with this, which is basically the same thing that I did here. Right? But this relative path is going to save you a lot of time. Okay, so make dir Hamza, hit enter, and then now we can do ls again. And as you can see, now we have two directories, Azan and Hamza. Now, if I want to get into Azan, no problem. So cd and then Azan, hit tab. That's going to autocomplete for me. I'm now, as you can see, inside desktop, inside Azan. Okay. Now, what if I want to go from here to Hamza? So I can use the cd, right? But the cd, again, like any other command, you have the two options, absolute path, relative path. I can do the absolute path, which is like this, / home / Ahmed, then desktop. Then I want to go into Hamza, so I'm going to type Hamza like that. And then voila, I am inside Hamza. But what if I want to move, so which is basically the same thing. Azan and Hamza are on the same level. What if I want to move now from Hamza to Azan? Someone is going to say, okay, just remove this one and type Azan here, right? Yeah, but I don't want to use the absolute path anymore. I want to use the relative path. So how can I use that? That's a problem, because you said that Linux is going to take this and then is going to add it to whatever you're going to type here. So if I type here something like that, for example, okay, cd Azan, something like that, this is not true. It's not going to take me to Azan, because it's going to take this, combine it with this, and inside Hamza there is no Azan. So basically, if I do something like this and hit enter, it's going to give me an error. It's going to say no such file or directory, and it makes sense. But I can do something like this: cd /Azan. Whoa, it works. So what is the double dot thing? Do you know? Double dot. It works, right? But what is the double dot? Yes, so I like to use one directory upwards instead of backwards, because the backwards is actually another thing that is actually cd dash. Maybe I will show it to you later. So I know what you mean, and it is correct, but I would like to use the word upwards. So it's going to take you one level up. Okay. So if I now do cd just double dot, just only the double dot, enter, it takes me back to the desktop. You see how it's going up? Okay. Now, if you would like to see the other one that is a backwards, let's say, for example, let's go cd and then go to /bin / what's inside bin? Let me just yes, you see, I'm not doing it correctly. So bin / whoa. I'd like to see a folder here. XVNC, okay. So forget about this. Let's go back to cd tilde. I can do this because the tilde is basically representing the home desktop. Actually, let's go into cd x11. Okay, so you see, I'm now in cd. I'm now in / bin x11. Now I'm going to go to the folder that is called Azan. Okay. Azan. If I do now cd dash, okay, it's going to take me to the previous folder that I was in. Okay, so it's like one step backwards. Whatever that folder was, this is my previous folder. If I do cd dash again, it's going to take me to Azan, because that's the previous folder. You see what's happening with the cd dash? So this is what I would like to call backwards, or the previous folder. And for the cd double dot, I prefer to call that upwards, like one level up. Is that okay? Easy to understand? These two? Okay, very good. So this is also one thing. Since I'm not feeling very well, I'm going to give you one more thing, and then maybe we can continue later. The other thing is that how I can like issue one command with admin privilege. So if you would like to issue a command with admin privilege, you do the sudo. You see? So the sudo command, and then you do ls. Now you are doing ls with an admin privilege. Actually, the account Ahmed is an admin. All you need to do is just give it the password. It is very similar to run as admin in Windows. Have you seen run as admin in Windows before? When you right click on a file, or not a file, you right click on a program, you have the option in Windows to do run as admin. So if you are an admin, it's going to run it right away, just going to give you a warning. If you're not an admin, it's going to ask you for an admin username and password. So this is basically exactly the same as run as admin. Actually, sudo stands for super user do. So do as a super user. Super user is the root privilege or admin privilege. Okay, this is one way of doing things. The other way of doing things is to actually change the account that I'm working with to another account that we call the root account. This is the root account, not a root account, the account that is actually called root. Okay, so we have an account that is called root. Now, by now you've seen, or you have actually heard the word root multiple times. One time, the /, this is basically the root of the disk. Okay, this is the root of the file system. You heard also the term root, that means the admin privilege or the super user privilege. Okay, so when you do sudo, you're basically doing with a super user or a root privilege. And there is an account in Windows, I'm sorry, in Linux. The account name itself is root. Okay, and this is very similar. Like in Windows, we have an account with an administrator privilege, and we have an account that is actually called administrator. Okay, so here we have the same thing. Now, how can I get access to this root account? All you need to do is you need to run the su command, super user. Okay, but the su command is going to ask you for the password for the root account. In this particular case, I don't have access to the root account. I don't have the password for the root account, which is okay. So I can do this in a different way. I can do sudo su. So basically, it's going to ask me for the password for Ahmed instead of asking me for the password of Kali. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is why I'm not feeling very well. I'm not sure what's happening. So if you do super user directly like this, which is a very, very sensitive command, it's going to ask you for the root password, the account that is called root, the password for that. But I don't have it right now. If you have it, just put it. But I don't have it in Kali because it's not there actually. So alternatively, I can do sudo su. Sudo su means that from Ahmed, run Ahmed as a super user and issue su. So now it's going to ask you for the password for Ahmed. Okay, it didn't ask because it's just like I entered it moments ago, and it keeps it for a while in the memory. And now, as you can see, I am now in a different thing. As you can see now, I am root, so this is the username but now the is like it's fancy skull, as you can see, and then Kali is the same computer. I'm still on the same computer. I'm still in the same location. However, the TLD disappeared because now home Ahmed is not the home folder for root. This is the home folder for a different user. So now it's not going to give you the TLD. And as you can see here, there is a hash. This is what I wanted you to see. Okay, what is a hash? Hash means that I'm working with the root privilege directly. So anything that you do from now on, you see the $sign. $sign means that running with a user privilege. Even if the account itself, which is Ahmed, an admin, but I am not running commands with admin. Okay, because I can see here the $sign. If I want to run accounts with admin, I have to add the sudo or the super user do. Now, as soon as you move to the root accounts, okay, it shows here a hash instead of the $sign. This hash means actually that you are running all the commands with admin privilege right away. So you don't need to do sudo. Okay, is this one clear? All of you, the rest. Anybody else who's listening on this radio channel 104.4? Okay. There are still some few things are left. Only few things. We can do them later. I now need to go to sleep. I have to. Anyway, do you have any questions before I leave you? Okay, very good. I will see you next week then. If you have any questions, just ask on the WhatsApp group. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Okay, so there is a question coming up. What's the difference between SU password and sudo SU password? The word password, you mean it's part of the command, or you're asking about the password? When I did SU and it asked me for the password, it's asking me for the password for the root accounts, for the account that is called root. But when I do sudo SU, it's asking me password for Ahmed, like this. It's asking me for the password of the account that I'm running the SU from. Okay? But in CLI, by default, there's no domain here. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's sudo SU is the current account password, which is Ahmed. Okay. Now the reason that I did sudo SU is that by default in CLI, the account that is called root does not have a password. Okay. Doesn't mean that you can get into it without a password. So it's actually locked. You can get into it only through another account. This is by default what's happening in CLI. If you would like to set a password for the root, you can, but it's not set by default. So what you can do is that you can get access to the Ahmed account, and from the Ahmed account, you do sudo SU. And then provide the password to Ahmed account, which is an admin. This is a root account. It has root privileges, and it will get you into the root account, the account that is called root. Okay, but you can set a password for the root account. Okay, any other questions? Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you again shortly. Bye-bye.